Little is known for certain about the nature of the hatman. While similar stories of shadowy cloaked figures appear as early as the 1500s, the earliest accounts of the hatman come to us from the 1970s. Within the past 4 years, there has been a spike in hatman activity, which has popularized the hatman in internet culture. This video is far from the first on the hatman, and certainly won't be the last. His appearance is ubiquitous throughout Western civilization, as thousands have witnessed him either in dreams or in the waking world. Chances are someone in your hometown has reported seeing the hatman, as is the case with my hometown of Trumbull, Connecticut. The hatman is a being that appears pitch black in most cases. Most who encounter him are convinced he is some type of shadow being, and not a physical entity. However, there are some reports of a similarly dressed figure who appears as an older human male, so the hatman is sometimes referred to as the old man in the hat. Whatever form this apparition takes, it is always wearing a dark trench coat and a short, black, wide-brimmed hat, which is commonly described as looking like a 1930s style fedora. It is far less common to see eyes on the hatman. When they do appear, they are usually green, red, or white in color. The hatman is somewhat associated with dreams and being in a dreamlike state. Many who have never seen the hatman while awake have reported seeing an identical entity while dreaming. In particular, lucid dreamers report him as a common recurring dream image. Some claim to see him as part of the waking world, but only as a hallucination induced by sleep paralysis. However, other reports claim to have seen the hatman at night, or even in broad daylight, while wide awake and nowhere near a place of rest. I will now share an early account of the hatman. It was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. I was always fascinated with ghost stories, horror films, mysteries, even strong spiritual connections. I can honestly say I never truly believed in ghosts, though. There was always too much of a question there. If you ever have an experience like this, you will never question again, as it opens up all kinds of doorways of thoughts on the supernatural. In my house, a 1970s southern home, I had felt a presence before. It often was negative, but has also been angelic after my mother passed away. There were little things that happened when my sister and I were young. We shared a room together. I had seen a wolf-like creature standing by her nightstand with glowing eyes, and another time she saw an angel watching me as I slept. Those visions faded with time and age. One night I felt something was watching me. My eyes flew open, and standing near the foot of my bed, kind of at the side, was a man watching me. He had beady, piercing black eyes. He was old, but had no wrinkles. He had white hair and a short white beard. He wore what appeared to be a black trench coat and a rounded, long-brim, Amish-looking hat, or sharp-brimmed vintage fedora. His look was dull, stoic, slightly sad, intrigued somehow by me, menacing because of it. I got the feeling he had been there before. After several good seconds of realizing this was in fact real, I let out a blood-curdling scream. I ran up the back of the bed and against the wall, and he vanished before me. I turned on the night lamp, went outside my room, and called to my sister. What is curious is that my mother passed away a year later in the same month. I often think he was a foreteller of doom, or just a curious entity that wants something but is unsure how to attain it. It helps to know other people have seen him. The following is a second count of a more recent interaction. My wife's father is a very serious fellow. He's mildly religious, but not spiritual. He attends church on a weekly basis for the sense of community and good-natured comfort of fellowship it brings him. He never really talks about matters involving ghosts or demons or spirits. He finds most of that stuff silly, but isn't overly aggressive towards scary movies or Halloween. Those things just aren't up his alley. That's the kind of guy he is. But there is one topic of discussion that he is very reserved about, and very quiet about. I've known him for 10 years, and he trusts and speaks to me like his own son. And he has only felt comfortable speaking to me about it twice, and in private. He says that there is a black figure in a trench coat that wears a wide-brimmed hat. He says that he mostly sees him when he lies down at night, but he has said that he has also seen him plain as day, standing right in a doorway or right outside a window. The first time I asked him about it was when I was casually talking about shadow people. When he heard me use that term, he gave me a nervous look and asked me what they were. Then he explained his own experience. The second time, I actually showed him a couple of pictures on Google and asked him if that was what he saw. He just got silent, stared, and gave me a slow, nervous nod. He says that it keeps him up at night, and that he's left work 2 times in his 40 years because it was standing in his office. It stood patiently in a dark corner, like it was waiting. Now he won't even talk about it anymore. He just politely asks me if I can change the subject. He doesn't know that there are tons of people around the world that see the exact same man. We do not know much about the Hatman, its origin, nor its goals. Some who have reported seeing the Hatman in dreams, or as part of sleep paralysis, are certain that it is a malevolent entity, associated with reduced energy and possibly psychic vampirism. Others who have seen it seem to think it is a messenger of bad omens, as the first story tries to implicate. Some believe it may also be a recurring vision of the collective unconscious, representing the shadow archetype via Carl Jung's interpretation. In other words, a doppelganger of the human psyche formed by repressed tendencies. Some who have encountered the being in lucid dreams find that it often provides helpful information and guidance. Others find that when it speaks, it only communicates in unearthly low-pitched growls. If it is more than just a vision, and if it is a malevolent entity, there may be some way to keep it at bay. Some have reported successfully commanding the Hatman to leave, just by working up the courage to tell it to do so. However, this is usually not a permanent fix, as the Hatman often returns. Others have theorized that Hatmen and similar shadow beings exist in a dimension on a lower frequency level than our waking world, and can only manifest on our plane of existence as a result of uncleanliness and negative energy.